funny hard drive story over the weekend that Netflix adds a skip to intro button for Cowboy Bebop.
Nah, I get it.
Yeah,
Because everyone likes the intro, and everyone hates Cowboy Bebop outside of the intro because that's the only good part of that show.
That's not true?
That's the common consensus in the anime world.
It's all about
the only
intro,
part,
all about the opening.
Yeah,
Done.
Tanks but no tanks is what anime fans say when it comes to Cowboy Bebop.
I don't believe you.
You get it?
Yeah.
No, people love those cowboys. People love those Cowboy Bebop.
People love Tank.
They do.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you?
Well, it's catchy theme. It's a good show, though.
Catchy tune. Yoko Kanno, talented.
Yeah. I like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
I like Cowboy Bebop. It's a good show.
Who doesn't? Even the movie's good.
Yeah. I can't speak for the live action one.
The Netflix show?
It looks a little...
I don't know. I mean, you've seen the live action Ranma movie.
You know, I actually haven't watched it yet.
I
haven't watched it yet.
Didn't know that was a thing, and I
thought you did. Did we not talk about it on an episode of your podcast?
Huh?
A long time ago?
On my podcast?
Yeah.
What podcast?
Points of Articulation.
Were you on a Points of Articulation?
Wow.
I mean, we haven't done Points of Articulation. I mean, I haven't done Points of Articulation in 2 years? You know?
Yeah.
We stopped doing Justin didn't have time for that. Were you on there?
Pretty sure we did an episode where we talked about the Run 1/2 movie.
I don't remember. Well, I watched part of it. I never sat down and watched the whole thing.
Okay.
So either I completely fooled you.
Maybe you did.
Convinced you.
I'll have to dig that episode up.
You should.
Yeah. Play it back for you.
Yeah, they did. It was like a TV
Memento.
Movie. Yeah.
You don't remember it, but it happened.
That's what it is. I don't remember, but it's only live action interpretations of anime shows that I can't remember.
That's all that it is. Yeah.
I have like a live action Kiki and a live action Cromartie High, like tattooed on my back to remind myself.
They did do a live action Cromartie.
Well, I know that's why I said it. They absolutely did. They did a live action Kiki as well.
Did they? I didn't know.
Were you aware of that?
One.
That was a couple years ago. Yeah, they did a live action Kiki.
Weird.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Hello and welcome to episode 783 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, November 9th, 2021. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and with me, as always, from Canada, a tired man here, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yellow.
Wake up, sleepyhead. How you doing?
A little tired.
How you feeling?
A little tired.
You should be feeling... Now, you're tired, of course, because you just finished your 24-hour Extra Life marathon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But despite your sleep-headedness, I would imagine you're probably feeling pretty good.
Yes, It was very successful this year. I think it's because considering there's still like 2 months left in the year, so people can still donate if they want to.
Yeah.
It's probably the best year that I've had. We ended up by the end of the 24-hour stream this morning, we were at $10,380 raised.
Yeah. And your goal was 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who donated, which I believe both of you did. And
I think I did before CJ did.
Well, yeah,
that's true.
That goes without saying.
His was a pure guilt donation.
That's fine.
No, I wanted to do mine on the day.
That's true.
Oh,
because there's a little warm hug that you see the boy hugging in Boy and His Blob, where he's hugging his blob during the stream.
What I wanted.
Was that the moment when CJ? That's what melted your icy heart, was seeing that show of genuine care and affection.
I think so. Yeah.
Like, oh man.
And also big thank you to CJ's best friend Mike and CJ's best friend Mike's best friend Jim, who both came and played and hung around with me to make sure I was properly fed and watered and stayed awake near the end. Jim helped me get through Star Fox Adventures during hour 22.
Oh, that game,
which was rough.
That game is painful.
You know, it's funny because
And there are people with real nostalgia and love for that.
Jim's
game,
one of them.
which I don't understand.
Which made that hour hilarious because see, Jim and I have been friends for, well, God, probably 30 years now. And he's a big fan of Sony, and he's sort of hooked, he buys PlayStation every year because he doesn't buy every system anymore. But during the years that I was actually down in Chicago working at Ziff Davis, and then also in North Carolina, I had no idea that he was like a GameCube guy, right? Because we weren't interacting as much at that point, obviously, because he was still living up here.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned I'm playing Star Fox Adventures, and I kind of rolled my eyes, like, Phil made me play Star Fox Adventures. He's like, "Oh, I loved that game." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, but he hasn't played it in 20 years or however long it's been since it came out." So as we're playing, he was sitting there like, "This is awful."
Yeah.
I don't know what, like, he's saying, he multiple times he literally said, like, "I'm really having trouble remember what I liked about this."
Yeah.
So
That sounds
anyway,
about accurate.
it's pretty funny, but yeah, those guys really helped out a lot. Like I said, even just being here and having someone to talk to, especially during the wee hours near the end of it, is always great. So anyway, I want to say thank you to them in particular, but thank you to everybody who donated. That's amazing. Over $10,000 raised, and like I said, there's still a month and a half left to go. That could still raise some more money if we try.
That's great.
Yeah,
I tuned in, Greg. I think you saw me in the chat.
Yeah,
but I tuned in while you were playing Star Fox Adventures, and I
terrible.
I felt bad. I immediately.
I know you
did.
did.
It made me doubly glad that I paid for 2 slots so you could end the night on Beautiful Joe, which I did specifically just because it's a good game.
Although I'm going to say, because that was hour 24, that was the final hour.
Of course.
There were moments where I realized I'd fallen asleep. Like, I'd be playing and then I would lose time and I'd wake up and I wouldn't remember how I got to where I was. So,
but you had progressed in the game.
But I had progressed.
So that says something about your skills. I think
pretty good.
Yeah, even semi-conscious, you were henching and go-going.
So, yeah.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Das Cosindana generous skills.
Oh, God.
Just the worst.
That was the biggest thing that Jim was like super offended by. And so I was like, why would you create like, first he said I hate made up languages in games. So I was like, well, it works in some games. Like, I played Panzer Dragoon and Orta earlier, and I mean, the fake language in there works well, or Eco,
absolutely. Or Star Fox.
But when it's not delivered well, and it's just there's no the fake language in that game. There's no flow to it at all. It's just a series of words, and the actors aren't not projecting, but they aren't emoting well.
Right.
They're speaking,
and then they just have random English words.
In English words,
and it's not even like names. It's like general or king
or like shrine.
Yeah,
go into the shrine over there, and we were both looking at it, just like, why don't they have a word for shrine?
Galusonoka shrine dokuno. Oh,
okay.
They built the shrines, but they didn't really have a word for what those are.
Anyway, too funny.
It's good stuff.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I watched your Eternal Darkness bit, and I just couldn't get it out of my head how dark that game really is.
There's something
as advertised.
There's something going on, and I think it's actually probably my fault. This running everything through a RetroTink 5X, which is a fantastic device. I love it.
Oh, so when you say dark, you mean like low lighting?
The blacks were way too
low
black.
lighting.
I understand. Yeah. Okay,
like
and that was happening earlier on.
This illustration, blah 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 blah, and I could not see anything on the screen.
Right. Yeah. So again, there's something that I think is a setting I have in the RetroTink 5X that I need to fix, because my TV was actually turned as bright as the presets would let me do it, and it was even still hard to see on the television sometimes. And I think when I run it through the Elgato Capture, it's actually crushing everything down even more. So yeah, there were a few moments where the darker games were very hard to see. So I need to figure out what my settings are wrong.
There you go. But congratulations on a successful extra live stream. That's excellent. And joining me from the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
I haven't been introduced yet. How's it going?
It's going well, sir.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. I may not have helped any children this
Well, you
past
did
week.
though.
Oh yeah, I guess I did. I donated.
Yeah.
You helped
Yeah,
Canada's children.
Yeah,
And I mean, I fed my kid.
that's helping
You
children.
know, that's child.
Yeah,
But I didn't actively
your
hurt
child
any
is a
children
children.
this week, so that's good.
Yeah.
But you know what I did do?
What's that?
So I got a new beverage to try.
Oh God, I
Oh.
saw the pictures of this.
Greg saw the picture.
Ugh.
If you follow my Twitter account, you know what's coming. I
God.
went grocery shopping.
Pain, regret.
I don't know. We'll see. I went shopping this afternoon for some groceries, and I found Mountain Dew
Oh,
gingerbread
Ugh.
snapped.
why?
SNAP
wow.
apostrophe D because it's
Why
extreme.
would they do that? And you
I
have
like-
a can of it, so that means you bought at least.
Yeah,
It's a 12. I got a
I
12.
like ginger snaps, but in like
Yeah.
moderation.
And this
Yeah.
is for those not watching the video. This can is decked out in holiday trimmings. You got a lot of like kind
A lot
of
of-
Christmassy green. You got some
Gingerbread men doing the do.
punk gingerbread men with mohawks and eye patches, and they're
To
having
the
a
extreme.
snowball fight. And this is described as dew with a blast of artificial gingerbread flavor. So they
No.
didn't actually crumble up gingerbread and pour it into the tank. It's
That'd be
artificial.
great to be drinking it and have chunks of.
Man, I like Mountain Dew, but I wish it was chewier.
Ugh.
Let's see. Do you remember what was it? Orbits? Was that the
I
name of
remember
that?
Orbits.
Orbits, the soda that had little chunks of something
Yeah.
floating in it.
I don't think I ever had any of that.
I tried it once and
Okay.
did not like it.
No.
Did not care for it.
No.
I'm not a big boba tea fan either.
I
Yeah.
am, but only once in a while, and I don't want it in my soda.
We broke Phil.
We broke Phil again. He probably took a sip of the ginger snap
Did,
Mountain Dew.
did my internet fizzle out again?
It did.
Yeah.
But I'm back.
Yes,
You are.
you're back.
Yeah.
So are you ready to take a sip? And now I
think
can't
he
hear
muted
you.
himself now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm leaning back from the mic so you don't get the gross mouth sounds of me
I thought that was the whole point.
Yeah.
gagging.
I thought that was the
see
whole point. Let's see the spit take.
Oh,
What's the
No.
bouquet like?
it smells a little gingerbready.
Well, that's what you
I mean,
made
that's,
for.
That's
Positive sign.
what it says. Let's
I
see.
wouldn't call it a positive sign.
Well, it's a sign of the apocalypse.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
it's like gingerbread. It's like gingerbread.
I just can't. I don't know what
More
universe
like a
someone said.
slurry?
I wish I could drink my gingerbread cookies.
I mean, see, I
Gingerbread
should
with
have.
sugar.
I wish I had. Oh, you know what?
Slurry.
Let's see. I don't have a clear glass. I'm curious
Let's
as to what
liquefy
color.
the cookie.
I'm curious as to what color this stuff is. Oh, it's clear.
Oh,
Flowers
whoa.
Liquefy a
I mean,
cookie.
clear might be overselling. it.
Clearish.
It's opaque.
It could be worse. It could be brown.
It looks
It's probably not.
it's,
really
it's
could have
opaque.
been.
Like it looks like the Mountain Dew isn't fully hydrated. Like
Oh,
that
man,
kind of
this-
opaque.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know if you can see inside
No.
the cup, but
Oh,
it
yes.
looks like
It looks like it's eating the metal away from the cup.
you know
Like
what?
Pocari sweat.
Oh my gosh, it looks
Just
like
in there. It's
I'm
like
gonna
when you
say
go
it.
on a trip for a while and then you turn on a faucet and get a.
I
get a
feel like
glass of
the first
water.
mistake you made is you
Ugh.
don't want to be able to clearly see the
It
liquid
looks-
you're drinking, especially
That's
when
not
it's
clearly
a
Canadian.
flavored soda beverage.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
this
it's
looks
probably for the best that you don't.
little natural harvest looking there. I am. Oh boy.
Watch
Dedicated to
out for
Mike
the
Phelps.
chunks.
Oh man, yeah,
You
that's
didn't buy a whole case of this, right? You just bought a can.
No,
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 I
I
bought
you had
wasn't
to
this.
buy a 12 pack.
I had to buy a 12-pack. I mean, it's
Oh.
not
Time to go to the local food bank.
bad. It's weird.
Well, next year maybe I'll do eggnog Mountain Dew and
Oh, I couldn't even.
I
Look,
love
I like
eggnog
it.
and I can't drink it anymore.
I like a gag soda as much as the next guy, but no, I could. Yeah, this is weird.
dog.
This is weird. I bet if you mixed it with booze, it would be okay.
That's probably why they did it.
Especially the more of it you had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But there you go.
Excellent.
Gingerbread
Live taste
snapped.
Yeah, I'm going to
testing.
say this week's intro has been a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
A lot of emotions.
We've had highs, we've had
Yeah.
lows.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
All right. Let's say we get into some news here.
Okay.
Yeah. So after our recording last week, Microsoft and Sega announced a little strategic alliance.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's
Windows CE on the Dreamcast?
finally.
Yeah, no, but
About
it's
time.
probably not as major as anybody would think. It's more just about using Azure services for their quote unquote super game. Whenever they're going to release that. Yeah, you remember a couple months ago they announced some kind of super game that was going to be like a live service.
Well, it's like the arcade thing,
Oh.
wasn't it? Or is that something else I'm
No,
thinking of?
something different.
Okay.
Yeah, that's different.
Oh.
But anyway, there's some game in development that they are pouring a lot of resources into.
Okay.
This probably has to do with that.
It's probably their first blockchain game.
Let's hope not. We'll get to that later.
Oh boy.
in the
CJ's
outline.
I'm
CJ's
just preparing
very
the audience.
excited to talk about blockchains and NFTs this week, folks. So
We're gonna
get ready.
talk about it. No, we'll probably, we'll see how that goes. All right, so Nintendo had their quarterly report and their investor call, and they've announced that they've sold 92 million units of Nintendo Switch hardware.
It's a lot of units.
It is.
That's a lot of units, considering that
Like almost 92 million more people than are listening to this show.
the Wii, the original Wii, sold 101, a little over 101
Dalmatians.
million units.
Those lovable dogs.
The Game Boy, 118 million units, and
Oh
that's
my
all the
gosh.
permutations of Game Boy.
Oh, so
To be
like
clear.
Game Boy Color and
Color and
Game Boy
advanced.
Advance?
Advanced.
too?
That's right.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And the Nintendo DS at 154 million units. So
I honestly expected that Game Boy number to be way higher, considering most people I know owned multiple Game Boys, multiple iterations of Game Boy.
Yeah, but you just knew a bunch of nerds.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, CJ.
So
CJ bought about half that number on his
That's
own.
true.
I don't want to talk about how many.
Oh, that's a different color. I need to buy 2 more of these.
It's too many. It's too many.
Now, when I actually have a fair number of, I mean, if you start counting colors and GBAs, I have.
Yeah, I never.
have a
I
fair
ended
number
up with a
Pokemon
fair amount
ones.
of Game Boy Advances just because of they actually improved it. When they made
Right.
improvements, I usually bought in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know,
I mean, I bought a Pocket. I bought a Game Boy Pocket when it
I
came
didn't
out.
do that.
because that had a better, a significantly better screen. Yeah.
I was sort of out of Game Boy by then, but when the color came out, I jumped back in.
Yeah, I got the. I don't
And-
think I bought multiple colors. I think I
I
just bought the
love my
one
Game
color.
Boy
I
Color.
have
I
multiple
still love
colors
that.
because they did Pokemon versions of
They did
them.
do
So
Pokemon
of
ones,
course, I did that. I didn't buy the Pocket until they did the clear one, because they had the metallic one. That
Mhm.
was like the original launch of
The
the Game Boy
ice
Pocket.
blue one or whatever.
Yeah, they did an ice blue, and
Yeah.
they did a metallic one.
Right.
And then I bought it when it was clear, when you could see
Yeah,
through
I got the clear one as well. Because it was the cool one. It was
because it was
clear.
awesome.
You could
Bought
see.
that with Mole Mania.
Yeah, Mole Mania.
Oh God.
Yeah, here we go. How could we turn Mole Mania into an NFT?
Let's not talk about it.
Call Ubisoft.
Yeah, exactly.
They've got a partnership with Nintendo.
So anyway, Nintendo's
Yeah.
selling a lot of Switch, and it's going to catch up to the Wii like very soon.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is completely crazy.
But hey, good on them.
As part of that, part of their investor call, they're talking about how they're very excited about the upcoming Super Mario movie, and there's speculation that there's going to be a Donkey Kong movie next.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the rare version.
What other version is there at this point?
Yeah.
No, really.
Well, isn't
Right?
didn't they announce that someone is voicing Donkey Kong in the Mario movie?
Seth Rogen.
Oh, that's right. It's Seth Rogen. That's
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna have his own movie.
His own spin-off film.
We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna. They are gonna build to like a Smash Brothers movie,
Nintendo
aren't they?
Cinematic Universe. Is that what you're saying?
They're building. It's gonna be a Smash Brothers movie.
An NCU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there'll be a Zelda movie and
NCU.
I mean, why not? If you can.
Sure.
yeah. They'll have all these individual movies, and then they'll come together
do a
for
Smash
the
Brothers
for the big Smash Brother movie. Yeah,
Of course.
so they have to unite against Master Hand.
And then Mario dies at the end.
Who can kill people
always
with
the
a
silliest,
snap of its fingers.
the silliest final boss.
Master Hand.
Not
man.
even a character; it's a pair of hands.
Well, because the original concept of the first game was that they were all toys, right?
Toys, right?
Yeah, and so you're
Oh, is that what I didn't know that?
and
Yeah,
played
it's
the
the
original
whole
game.
thing.
in the N64 game,
They're in a toy box.
the excuse was that it's not really Mario beating up Zelda; they're toys.
They've kind of reworked that now, where it's more of a hey, Mario and all his friends are actors in these different games, right? Like that's kind of the thing now.
I don't know.
I believe.
I don't know about
I'm pretty
that.
sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no,
What
I'm
is that?
serious.
Because they were still doing the toy thing with the GameCube game.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying in general. It was more recently where which is why they're not really enemy. Like Bowser and Mario aren't really enemies. They're just actors.
Mario
in these
Brothers 3, you
video
can clearly
games.
see it's a play. The curtains open on the title screen, and the
That's true.
backgrounds are held aloft by cables and pulleys and such. So it's very clearly
See, Phil knows.
I mean,
play.
Lakitu is the cameraman. I mean,
Exactly. Yep.
See,
Yep.
Yeah.
you guys are getting it. You just had to stop and think a little bit.
Yeah,
Use your
yeah.
brains.
It's all
Yeah.
Super Mario 2 was just a dream. The world of Subcon does not really exist, but in
That's
Mario's
right.
head.
so.
Let's see.
That's why Wart's never come back. See,
Because it was all a dream?
yeah, there is no Wart. Wart's
I guess not. But what
Wart's
about
a
Link's
twisted
Awakening?
manifest. Well, that's not Wart, is it?
Oh,
that's
true.
Mamu or whatever he's called.
Mamu, yeah.
Is it Mom? Oh, look at
It is.
look at me
Remembering
remembering.
things.
obscure details about very old games. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird for you.
quiet too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Continue. Let's talk about movies.
I love
As we go
movies.
forward.
What have
I
you
love
guys?
movies too.
Did you guys watch that? The Eternals.
No,
I've heard it's not great.
I've heard that too. Did you guys watch the Dunes?
I haven't watched
I
the
know
Dunes.
it's not great.
Yet.
I liked Dune.
Greg didn't like it.
Greg didn't like
I didn't
Dune.
like it.
No.
No, too thinky for you, huh?
Yeah.
Not enough zappy shoot quip. Is that what
I heard
your
it was the
problem
new
is?
Star Wars, which made me not sure I wanted to see it in the first place.
Oh,
I mean-
jeez.
I mean, Dune was written.
No,
long
I know.
Before.
You know what? You know what's come out of me not being super crazy about Dune? By the way, beautiful
Yeah.
movie. Like I said last
Oh
week,
yeah.
wasn't for me. I'm reading the book.
Are you really?
All
It's
right.
one of those books that always thought I should read that.
Movie was
someday.
so bad it made you read.
Well, it's like okay, so far there's
I'm
been
done
two
with
bad
movies.
movies. So
This
far there's
was-
been 2 bad movies based on this book, but
Yeah.
people love this book, so I got to see what the deal
Yeah.
is there.
I'm going to law school.
Right.
See,
No.
there it is. There's the discourse on Dune right there in our chat. Dune
Yeah.
is so boring.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I
it.
thought Dune was fantastic.
Yep.
There it
That's
is.
exactly it.
There it is.
You're either one or the other.
But
yeah, I
I'll be-
liked it.
I'll be honest, and I mean, I wasn't crazy about his Blade Runner sequel either. So
I really liked
Really?
it.
I see.
I
enjoyed it.
didn't dislike it. I couldn't even tell you what happened in it. I have
Really?
zero
Well,
memory
I
of that
couldn't
movie.
either, but I really liked it.
Well, Jesus.
I really liked
I
Blade
saw
Runner.
it some years ago.
Oh my
Blade-
God.
Memory's not that
Blade
good.
Blade
Couldn't
Runner
tell
2.
you either. Best movie ever. I don't know what happened, but it was amazing.
I loved it. Yeah.
Ugh.
That Arrival movie, also very good. But anyway,
Never saw that.
The Arrival.
yeah, The Arrival.
Yeah, that's the one with the alien linguistics.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I
It
like
is.
that movie.
So let's talk about 8-Bit Christmas. The trailer for that.
Right up
Came out.
there.
Great looking movies.
Go
Right
from
up there.
Dune to 8-Bit Christmas.
Oh man.
A movie about one kid's quest
Yes.
to purchase a Nintendo
Well,
Entertainment
I think it's a
System.
movie about an adult telling
A
their
movie
kid
about an adult
their
who's
kids
retelling
and
the
themselves
story.
Trying to, yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
a Doogie Howser movie. It's in the Doogie Howser verse.
Yeah. In the
It's got
Dugaverse.
Neil Patrick
Dugaverse.
Harris in it.
The
That
Howserverse.
Starship Troopers is also in that universe.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And the
Fever
Harold and
Dream.
Kumar go to
Time
White
in Doogie
Castle.
to eat mushrooms.
He gets stoned and goes to White Castle, and then he
Yeah.
tells his story about wanting an NES,
Yeah.
And then he becomes a space fascist and starts
There you go.
reading bugs' minds.
That happens. Yeah.
you
All
know?
true.
Yep.
And then
I'll
he
tell
met
you
your
what,
mother.
though. I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all. So
I don't know
Okay.
what that reference is.
that's
clearly a
Starship
Starship Troopers reference.
Did you ever see Starship Troopers?
Speaking of movies I didn't like at all.
Well, that's
Starship
weird.
I also didn't like Starship
That
Troopers.
movie was
People are
terrible.
idiots. What?
Oh, it was terrible. I will defend
Weird.
Dune. Dune's a good movie that I found boring. Starship
Yeah.
Troopers is a bad movie.
I agree with that.
That's
Yeah.
incorrect and weird.
From the
Starship
director
Troopers.
of
see,
Hollow Man,
you
also
like
a
the
bad
Super
movie.
From the
Nintendo Labs,
director-
so you really don't know.
From the director of RoboCop,
Well,
Yeah, RoboCop was a
RoboCop's a
great
good
movie.
movie.
first
Yep.
of all, and Starship
So he
Troopers.
made a good movie. That means
Uh-huh.
every movie he made was good.
Mm.
That doesn't compute.
Definitely
It
not.
means all the good movies he made were good, and that's just not
I
the
agree.
gingerbread snapped talking.
That's science.
See, look right there, Jeff Grubb, world-renowned film critic Jeff Grubb in our chat.
How old were you when Starship Troopers came out?
There you go. There you go.
Look at that. Look at
I don't
that.
think he's much younger than we are.
Starship
not.
Troopers top 10 greatest movies. Starship
No.
Starship Troopers is great.
No.
Maybe
Thank you.
top 10 greatest Verhoeven movies.
Vindicated
Yeah.
by our
Vindicated, 'cause
intelligent
3 people in the
listeners.
chat agree with you.
That's a good like
No.
80% of our entire listener base.
fair.
So
Yeah.
Starship Troopers is perfect. Thank
what
you, Jeff.
what about this
Terrible
8-bit
movie.
Christmas movie?
It looks like trash.
It
I
looks
can't wait
like
to see it.
complete trite
It's gonna
holiday
be
movie
yeah.
trash.
It looks.
Oh, it
looks
absolutely
However,
is.
it looks like it'll be fun too.
I guess.
It looks like a mixture of Princess Bride,
Uh huh.
The Wizard,
Uh huh.
What's the Princess Bride
Jingle
reference?
All the Way,
The
But-
retelling a story. It's the
Yeah.
framing
Oh,
device.
okay, fair enough.
the framing device of the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Christmas Story.
Uh huh.
Definitely looks like it's
got
it's
that.
doing the
It's-
Christmas story.
it's-
I live in the trailer. It even says a brand new Christmas story
Yeah.
or something along those lines.
Yeah.
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 Of course,
It's,
it won't become that until they play it every 2 hours on TBS on Christmas
So,
Eve.
so wait a minute. So Jeff Grubb in the chat. So this is based on a book,
what?
or is he just
Yes,
making a
this mo-
joke? I didn't know
No,
that.
this movie is indeed based on a book.
8-Bit
Yeah.
Christmas?
8-Bit Christmas. Yeah.
Because
no
Starship
idea.
Troopers is based on a book.
I know that.
Starship Troopers also based
You know what's weird is both movies are based on the same book. They're just just slightly different interpretations of the source material.
It
Yeah.
totally looks like something. Yeah, I'll want to. It looks like candy. I'll watch it
Inoffensive
once. And I
candy.
think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think the kids will like it. I know my youngest is excited to see it, and of course, it's aimed squarely at our age group.
Right.
Oh,
From
definitely.
a standpoint of, oh, look, kids in the 80s who wanted a Nintendo. Hey, that's, and it's going to be all about set pieces in that regard too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know how that kid in A Christmas Story wanted that Red Ryder BB gun?
Yes.
This
that was
this
us
is our
with the
version of
Nintendo
that.
in the mid
Yeah,
80s.
exactly. Exactly.
Our
Yeah, who
version of
knows?
that.
Hopefully
It
it'll be
looks fine.
good. But the trailer made it look like, yeah, I'll see this. Sure, why not?
November 24th on HBO Max.
There you go.
It is not going to be in theaters, apparently.
Even better. Now I'll definitely
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah, really.
I don't have to go out anywhere.
Perfect.
All these sick people.
All
Man.
right.
Yeah.
So are you guys ready to dig in to NFTs and blockchain?
No.
Because we
Not at
hang
yes,
on,
a
hang on. I gotta do
podcast.
something. Hang on. Whoa, hang on. I gotta do something. Hang on.
What's that?
Oh, I like how he has my picture on there now because
Yeah.
one time I was gone, he logged in as me, and now it's
Now it's
just,
always that.
yeah, it's always that.
I just
Cool.
wanted to leave. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I never changed that. I don't know why it's your picture now.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is either. I don't like it. You're stealing my identity. My
I don't care.
identity is on the blockchain and cannot be
Just-
stolen.
Just
Oh,
right
God.
click save.
Yeah.
There it is.
Anyway, yeah, I wanted to bring up NFTs and blockchain merely because in the last week, it's just been in the headlines a lot as companies have had their quarterly earnings calls. So you had Electronic Arts CEO call
Mhm.
NFTs and blockchain the future of our industry,
Mhm.
which, yeah, interesting. Ubisoft also plans to make blockchain games and
Mhm.
NFTs.
Mhm.
You have Epic welcoming blockchain games while Valve has gone ahead and banned them from Steam, which
Well, I mean, they're probably only welcoming them because Steam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
it's
it's
like
100% the reason why
hey,
they're doing
crypto bros, Steam doesn't want you, but we do at the Epic Game Store.
Because if you read the release actually that you linked in our outline, CJ, was it Tim Sweeney says, "Oh, there will be restrictions around it, but we haven't really shared what those are yet."
Right.
Because that hasn't been thought through. That's totally Valve did this, so we're going to do the opposite.
No one's thought any of this through. It's that blockchain and NFT is a big buzzword right now. So the companies are saying, yeah, that's what we're doing. And they don't know what they're doing. They have no plans for this.
It is interesting, though, and I haven't watched this whole thing yet. It's a 20-minute documentary, and the reason I haven't watched it all is because I just discovered it like 10 minutes before we started recording. In one of the stories, there was a link to it's called Play to Earn, which is a documentary about a town in the Philippines where people sort of survived the pandemic because they were all right on the poverty line anyway by playing this. What's the game called? Axie something or other.
Genshin Impact.
They're earning
cryptocurrency and cashing it in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's interesting to see because I mean, that's a very different situation than a lot of people in North America are in. But I shouldn't say that. But most of the people that we probably interact with, because they're very close to just abject poverty anyway, and the economy ground to just a complete halt in their town during the pandemic. So it's an interesting watch. I recommend checking it out. Just to see sort of, a situation where this just actually wasn't a terrible thing.
Well, and that whole play to earn thing, I think, is an upcoming buzz term.
Oh,
even
absolutely.
more than just NFT and blockchain when you're talking about games. For me, it's easy to dismiss NFTs and blockchain stuff because in the art world, I feel like they're scams. Completely.
Of course.
But then when you have like the CEOs of these companies talking about how this stuff is the future of our industry and whatnot, you have to think about how this kind of stuff could impact the way we play games. And at the moment, anyway, a lot of the conversation around this stuff is being run by people who are advocates for NFTs and blockchain stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And they love it because it exists seemingly. And if they're working on a blockchain game, those games are pretty bad. Like they exist and you can trade stuff in them or whatnot, but they're not games the way that we think of like gameplay and good games. However,
they're much closer to what I think a lot of mobile games have become, right? They're more of like the grind.
There's that, and like it's like trading cards or trading items and things, and that's like what those games exist on.
So when you're talking about a game of FIFA with a team comprised of poorly drawn monkeys, isn't that the future of
Is
NFT?
that too much to ask?
That's all I want, man.
That will eventually happen.
Yeah.
No, but like there are things you can trade and whatnot, and you have a unique one of those things. But when then like companies start talking about this as the future, like EA and Ubisoft, eventually we are going to get to the point where somebody makes a good game with one of these buzzwords and people start playing it. And it's just interesting to me to think about what that means for games and are we okay going in that direction? Like if you can earn things in a game that then you can resell that has a value, like has a real world value.
Didn't Blizzard do this with Diablo 3 at first?
With the auction house, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of a cluster.
This just reads to me. This reads to me like some execs, like I said, hearing a buzzword.
Yeah.
Saying
and making sure their shareholders know that they know what it is.
Making sure the shareholders know.
Correct.
And I have a feeling that this is going to go the way, and I will probably be 100% wrong on this because I'm no analyst. I'm no industry analyst.
Right.
But this, the execs going on about blockchains and NFTs smells like Velocity Girl selling her custom skateboards in Tony Hawk.
Except there are people who are doing this stuff now.
Yeah.
It's slightly different from that. But I mean, you're right. It feels like a pipe dream that's far away from what good games and good gameplay is.
And what will ever actually happen, because Velocity Girl never made a dime off her custom skateboards.
No. But what if you could, though? Like, what if there was a way for Velocity Girl to make a custom skateboard in a game and sell that, or liveries in Forza? Like, what if there was a way that I could make a living designing
Congratulations.
designing liveries in Forza or items for X game or whatever, and allowing that economy to exist.
I kind of like
alongside
the free
game.
liveries in the Hot Wheels game. They're
What's
free.
That?
They're free. The Hot Wheels liveries. People
I know,
make
but
them.
what if they
it's funny actually, because
well, if they weren't, then I wouldn't download them, would I?
It's just it. I think it would be interesting to see if that could be a sustainable something like what you're describing would be sustainable because of exactly that. I mean, if you pay attention to Forza or Gran Turismo, since those are the examples we're using here, I mean, there's a huge, especially on Forza when it was really starting off, there's a huge community of extremely talented people making liveries. And they are free. You can't, as far as I know, you can't charge for them. So, and you can set them up to share. I mean, in our show's Gran Turismo League, we all run, some of us run custom liveries we've created, but most of us download liveries, right? So, but I'm curious, like what Phil just said. I know for me personally, if I had to buy those, I probably wouldn't.
I probably wouldn't either.
So it'd be interesting to see if it would be a sustainable economy.
Unless somebody made a Sea of Thieves one, and then I'm on it.
There you go. See.
Well, here's the thing though: if someone made a Sea of Thieves one, they probably wouldn't be able to sell it, right?
Hard to say.
That's a good question.
Because now you're looking. Because
you're probably right.
I would imagine Microsoft wouldn't be too happy about someone.
Well, what if Microsoft wanted to sell me that?
Well, I mean, that's just a microtransaction.
And good job.
Haven't they already sold you a few things?
What's interesting to me is, so the blockchain itself is just a system of holding on to those receipts of like who owns what. Like the ownership of one thing can't be changed in one place without having it with like it won't go through unless it's changed everywhere, right? It's just a system that's checking to make sure that you're the owner of the thing. And let's say limited edition items in games, especially live service games, were offered such that they could be traded or sold after you bought them or used them in game. That sounds like a pretty big thing, especially when, like in a lot of console games, a lot of live service games, they make a lot of money based on those sorts of limited edition items.
I think really for this, and I don't think Phil, you feel the same way. I'm not versed enough in how any of this works to say whether this is good or a bad thing. But my sort of gut reaction is I'd be curious to see how pervasive this will actually become. Because Ubisoft and EA have both come out. I mean, to be fair, they're two huge companies, but they have big mobile divisions too. And that seems to me that's where this is probably going to happen and has been happening. But it could be more pervasive in PC and maybe consoles. But I also wonder, like you look at EA and you look at their Ultimate Team setup, especially in FIFA, has been like a gold mine for them. Yeah. Right. But what you're describing sounds like that would be more money being exchanged between players as opposed to for them. And then I'm curious
but that's the other thing, like with
would
NFTs,
they be okay with that?
When something is resold, the person who originally made it also makes money.
That's fair.
So,
and if it's a percentage. Then...
So if it's a percentage of these cards in Ultimate Team or whatnot, they're making money from each sale. It just seems like these big
at the end of the day, I don't see this affecting any games I give a damn about.
No, you are probably right. For me, I look at this as it's probably 5-10 years away from coming into a game that I care about. Exactly. But I feel like it's such a pervasive. such a pervasive thing, such a buzzwordy thing that we're going to hear more about it sooner rather than later. I think it's definitely coming to mobile before it comes to consoles. Probably it'll hit PC as well before it comes to consoles, just because with consoles, there's that first party barrier that people would have to get over.
That's what I'm
already
saying.
So very interested to see how this whole thing pans out. But until then, I think that, selling JPEGs for $250,000 or whatnot is a scam. So,
wait, you see what happened to Frodo this past week with that stuff?
Why? What happened with
Christ, he has a name.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood.
Actor? Yeah.
Elijah Wood. Yeah, not the actual Tolkien Hobbit character. Elijah Wood is apparently like hardcore into like NFT art and such.
Yeah, because he's got lots of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
And he was proudly posting about some new, it's all just horribly drawn, cookie cutter crap, but he was very excitedly posting about the new art he bought, and then people quickly discovered that the artist has done a lot of really racist cartoons, like
good times,
like really racist, just like KKK kind of stuff. He was kind of quiet about it for a couple days and didn't really say anything, and then posted a thoughtful JPEG on his Twitter account that explained that I do not like racism, and I sold my racist NFT art and donated the money to,
good for him,
some Black Lives Matters or some kind of charitable organization or something like that. But it was not good.
I say this again, not understanding how really most of this NFTs and all them and blockchain and everything works, which makes me feel so old when I say it that way. But it really, like, for me, I don't pay as much attention to it anyway, because it goes along to me the same lines as it, not necessarily that it feels like a scam, but that it feels like something that a group of outside investors are just pouring money into. And so everyone's trying to get while the getting's good. And it reminds me of the whole games and sarcophagi, and you know what I mean, like just the WADA grading thing, and how you're realizing that all these games that are selling for these unbelievable amounts are being bought by groups of investors,
right?
None of that's natural. None of that's a natural market phenomenon. It's people trying to manipulate a market to build up tons of value and then cash out when they think the time is right.
Yeah.
And that, again, I say this not knowing how blockchain and NFTs and everything really work, but that's how it feels to me when I hear about that. So, and at that point, it's like, well, this is something I'll never really be part of, so I'm not paying any real attention to it at this point.
I largely agree. I think, though, that there will be some aspect of that starts to touch the gaming industry in the next 5-10 years.
Well, do you think it'll be more like along the lines of how VR was a few years back, where there was just a ton of capital in VR because it was the next big thing and it was where everyone was going to make their money, and then it kind of all disappeared after a couple of years?
Possible, but I think somebody is going to do this where digital goods can be resold to other people. I think somebody is going to do that aspect of it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It may not be in the form of Steam. NFTs or blockchain, but I feel like
I've sold
code to get this rare item in X live service game is going to become a tradable thing, because already those codes on eBay go for a lot of money. Like, why wouldn't the companies producing that content want to make a little on the side when those things get resold, right? Somebody's going to figure that out.
Yeah,
sure. You're probably right.
All right, we can move on.
How much money do you have in Dogecoin right now, CJ?
0.
Really?
I've never, I just my eyes glaze over when anybody starts talking about Ethereum or Dogecoin or whatever. And when I was working at Adult Swim, we got pitched a lot of blockchain,
Oh, really?
NFT, a lot of blockchain games, and
man.
they all felt skeevy. Like the
Yeah.
people who were pitching these, it just like didn't feel right. It's like, what's the game? Oh, there's no game. We just minted 250 of these things, and one of them sold for $500,000. It's like, but
Now
why?
imagine if we had Rick and Morty on those.
And I was like, well, why? Like, what value does this bring to gamers? Like, what is this for? And luckily, we never did.
Why? Wait, back up. Why do you think video games need to bring value to gamers somehow? They bring value to the stockholders.
Yeah, that seems like a
Come on, man.
I'm all about players first, man. Players first.
You're weird.
Yeah, you'll never make money that way.
Go back to Russia.
Wow.
All
right, let's talk about what we've been playing. And I'll go first this week.
Tough.
I've been playing some Mario Party Superstars.
Okay.
Some superstars.
Yeah.
Mario Party. As I mentioned before.
Trying to figure out what that voice you were going for there was.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looked like you were slipping into something, but
it was all over the place.
Then you kind of backed out.
I
wanted to see that
pretty much.
Little Andrew Dice Clay or something.
Oh, little boy Blue.
Because he needed the money.
He needed the money. Ow!
Whoa,
I can't flick.
Wait, Andrew Dice Clay was like a cartoon pizza chef?
That's right.
I mean, he was definitely a cartoon.
Money.
That's
he
half
needed
right.
the money. And then he flicks his cigarette at you.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, so Mario Party Superstars.
Yeah.
This is a collection of 5 boards from previous Mario Party games, redone and released on the Switch, and it's got online play. Started playing this with the family last week, and I've really been enjoying it. I think it's a lot of fun.
You guys don't hate each other yet?
You don't hate each other yet.
Stars
but there have been a lot of tears.
Oh, see.
My daughter.
Is
tears.
Has she been helping you after you start crying about your stars getting stolen from you?
No, I don't get stars stolen from me. I do the stealing.
Wow.
No,
from your own child.
Awful.
But she starts like the CPU player gets like one more star than her, and she starts crying. It's like, but we're only on turn 12 of 30, so there's plenty of time to turn this around, right? But so we've been playing that and having a lot of fun, and the mini games have been really good. I have run into a few that warn you not to turn or rotate the analog stick
the old,
so fast
from the first Mario Party game.
From the first Mario Party.
Put your palm on the analog stick and grind it. Yeah.
And I explained to my wife, I was like, see that warning there? That's because back in the day.
That's from something I did.
Fast. I didn't actually do it. I never got the...
They had to add that warning because of me.
I never got the blister on my palm because of Mario Party, because I never owned the original Mario Party.
Oh, man.
I don't think I bought one until like the GameCube.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy, huh?
I reviewed them, but I never actually owned.
Oh, okay.
Owned them.
So. That was EGM, so you probably never actually played them either.
Gasp.
Yes, I did play them. But anyway, a lot of good boards, a lot of fun mini games. You can really customize the way that the games are played, including adding handicaps. So like in the first game we played as a family, I started with 0 stars, but my wife and daughter started with 2 each.
Oh, okay.
So, and then my wife ended up winning. So, and she almost never wins because I am the Mario Party Dominator.
Oh, here we go. Now, can you be really bitter and like right at the very end of the game opt to rescind the handicap? So it's like
just remove it.
Yeah, you were up 2 stars from the beginning, but you're doing a little too well. So we're just gonna take that back.
But you can set like the bonus stars. You can take those away entirely so that it's just whatever stars you earn on the board.
Yeah.
Or you can have them be like a fixed, like it's only these 3 things that'll give it give you bonus stars, or the more recent sort of random prizes. Random categories.
Gotcha.
You get stars for. So, but overall, his package is pretty nice. The online play is pretty good. I played some mini games online, and it seemed all right. And I really, really like the fact that when you play a game, like my daughter has a profile on my Switch, and you can actually like she can load up her own profile when we're playing together, so that any of the mini games or any of the rounds that we play, she gets XP for that in her.
Yeah, you mentioned that previously.
I really like that.
I love that.
Yeah, more games should definitely do that. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with that. I'm going to be playing more of that, I'm sure, over the course of the next couple of years, because we play Mario Party a lot here. And that's that. So also been playing a mobile game. Pikmin Bloom is a new game from Niantic and Nintendo. Niantic, of course, the makers of Pokemon Go and Ingress, and they do a Harry Potter game as well.
Not for long.
And what's that? What's that?
What?
You said something, Phil?
Nothing at all.
All right. So this game is basically a pedometer game with Pikmin, and it's encouraging you to walk around and plant flowers and hatch Pikmin and all kinds of stuff. So I'm basically just like checking in on the Pikmin every night or every morning, and I do go on walks now. I have been going on walks recently, so
that sounds exhausting.
I just like load up Pikmin Bloom, set it to plant some flowers, and go on a walk, and it beautifies my virtual world.
Nice. I downloaded this, but I haven't.
That's all it is.
I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
It doesn't feel like much of a game.
Oh, really?
It's not much of a game, but it is kind of fun to have something Pikmin on mobile, I guess. I'd rather have a Pikmin 4, but I'll take this.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
No, now we don't need that sequel.
Yeah, and then I've been playing Guardians of the Galaxy.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and I am up to chapter 12.
Oh, geez. Okay,
in the game,
you're ahead of me.
I'm ahead of
you.
No
spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah, well, that's gonna make this a difficult discussion.
I will say, that I am enjoying the hell out of this game.
It is really good.
Yep.
It's so good. And yeah, it's so surprising to have like previews for a game and like trailers for a game that looks just so bad. But when it comes out, it's like, wow, this is actually really good.
It was funny because that's been the conversation on Twitter, it seems, about how it was poorly marketed. Although friend of the show, his hacker alias is Blarcade. He's a comic book, video game comic book guy. He's in a couple books and everything like that. I think it was him pointed out that it's like, and maybe Chris Baker did as well, like they really didn't market this poorly. It was pretty straightforward. When they first showed it off, there was gameplay involved. You knew when it was coming. But
didn't look very good.
Right. It just got me to thinking that I really think that this just suffered so much from the Avengers. Because the Avengers was a bit of a mess when it came out. The art style never looked right in that game. No. The characters always looked like these off-brand MCU characters. And I think that I know I did this for sure, but I think that a lot of people kind of transplanted their feelings of Avengers onto Guardians, because Guardians art direction in those first trailers didn't look amazing to me either.
No.
And you know, the feelings from Avengers were very, very fresh. Plus, also, I don't know if it was really clear back then that it was going to be a single player game where you commanded the team. And I seem to remember seeing that in the midst of a lot of game showcases where all you saw were tactical team-based shooters over and over and over again. It's like, oh my God, this looks like another one, even though it clearly wasn't. So I really think that a lot of people just glossed over it because of that.
Yeah. Main culprit being the Avengers did not help this game at
because
all.
It was Square Enix. You know, I mean, it's worth pointing out that they're from the same publisher, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
So you finished it, right, Greg?
I did.
You finished it. And you're on, CJ, you said you're on 12?
12.
I am on, I want to say 9.
So I guess you're going to put a spoiler warning on this at some point, CJ, right?
I mean,
do we want to dive into it right now?
Well, I mean, we might as well. You're up to chapter 9, so
okay. So I will tell you where I am at.
Okay,
but
do it.
Spoilers. This is now we are getting into spoilers.
Skip to the next chapter in your podcast.
Yeah, and if you have not played this game yet,
go play it.
Don't listen to spoilers.
Don't listen to this.
Don't listen to spoilers. Yeah, go.
It's a good game. Go play it.
It really is. Jeez Louise. So I'm at the part where I've encountered the cult, and they captured us, and I got the whole we're trying to find a way to save Nikki at this point. We're trying to go back and save her, and we're rushing off because we found out that the cult has arrived on nowhere. We were talking to Cosmo, and he's all like, "You don't come here. Go save." Yeah,
Cosmo's fantastic, by the way.
Absolutely,
right.
Love him.
Right, Cosmo, the
so great
Russian space dog who can psychically communicate with you, and
like apparently based on what the game is saying is like one of the most powerful psychics in the universe or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. So that's where I am right now.
Okay.
So
you're about to get to some of my favorite parts of this game.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
What part of that whole thing are you on?
What do you mean?
Like, what have you seen?
Yeah, like so you're in nowhere. You're saying, right?
Or you're in nowhere. There? Is that where you are?
No. I'm
past that
because you go to nowhere.
Yeah,
and you talk to Cosmo.
Yeah. So are you on the rock?
Well, because he sends you off, and you go back to the Nova ship.
Yeah.
And you get the cult shows up with their gigantic ship. Yeah,
that's the rock.
Yeah. And they you go in there, and you have the whole info dump where you find out about the faith batteries, and you find out that Nikki is the matriarch.
Yeah.
And you have the big you have the dramatic flashback where you get stuck in the promise, and you have to reject the promise.
So you've seen the birthday party.
The birthday party on the ship.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because there's the flashback where you go back to
your birthday party.
Back to your child. Yeah, you go back to
you try to save your mother,
to Star-Lord's childhood as an adult.
Yeah.
Yes. We're really going into spoilers here.
Oh, so yeah.
Nobody's listening.
I don't think you can talk about this game without doing that. I really don't. There's too much of it is based on
narrative.
Yeah. So I had that false ending. You get the false ending that you have to reject, and then and then there's the other. You get zapped into the false promise on the ship where you are a happy family with what's her name, space lady and Nikki Carell, and Nikki, and then you escape from the cult, and you end up back on the Milano, and everyone's all mopey because they all relive, got to see loved ones again and stuff like that, and then it's like,
so I think then we got to go on your way to the World Mind.
Yeah, I just talked to the World Mind.
Okay,
that was pretty great.
Yeah, I talked to the world. Yeah, I'm the World Mind chat was the last thing I did, and then we.
So okay,
you're about to get to my favorite part of the game.
Okay, cool.
Can I ask though? So as far as I'm trying to remember where this scene was that I'm thinking of. So after you talk to the World Mind, and everybody leaves. Right, I think, or the World Mind leaves at least.
Well, the World Mind leaves, and then the cult shows up and starts draining everyone.
Yep.
Right, and then you escape,
and then the Guardians warp out of there.
Is there a scene there right at the end of that where you're all sitting in the cockpit and everyone's arguing?
Yes.
And Peter loses his shit.
Yes, that's where I'm at. That's where I stopped playing.
That to me, and I'm actually getting a little tingly thinking about this, and probably because I'm so tired, but that to me was a very powerful scene.
Yeah,
because to me it really drove home how good the writing is in this game.
Yeah.
And how wonderfully it's acted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
it really is.
And I don't know if you guys can really relate to this, but I mean, you can to a point, but where you've both only got one kid each.
Oh, here we go.
It very much because I mean, but seriously,
as a real parent with multiple kids, I understand.
I do have a point here, because the dialogue in the game is great anyway, and they lose their temper with each other, and they're constantly bickering with each other, and it really feels they've really made it feel like a family.
Right.
In a lot of ways, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
But that scene in particular to me was just like, if you've ever gotten into a bit of an argument with one of your kids or your wives, and you just go over the edge a little bit, like just emotionally.
Yeah, I do that in Mario Party all the time.
And well, there you go. And in that moment anyway, because all four of your teammates are bickering and arguing, and they're all looking to you. And Peter, not that he hasn't yelled before that, but he really puts on this like, I have had enough. And his voice breaks when he really screams at them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then everybody gets up and leaves, and you feel the character, as the character, he immediately feels regret that he did that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it was one of those moments where he was trying to calm everyone down and no one was listening. And so the only way to make it happen was to raise his voice to the point that it shocked everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it happened in the game, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I have felt this. You know what I mean? Like, because especially with 3 kids running around and sometimes into a situation where they're bickering and trying really hard to calmly bring everything back down to a reasonable level.
Yeah.
Finally losing my temper and yelling like that.
Yeah.
And then immediately wanting to apologize to everybody for it. Well, it really hit home when it happened. It's like, oh my God, that is one of the only times I remember in a video game sort of having that feeling and having it come across so perfectly.
Well, the game is doing a very good job, and it's all the writing. I mean, this game has, and I mentioned this briefly last week when we talked about it. This game has so much writing.
So much. There's always dialogue.
Yeah, and you can just let the characters talk for like 5 minutes straight, and they will just have a full-on conversation. And
even during battle,
yeah. And it's for the most part relevant stuff, and it's all towards building the characters or setting the scene or setting the tone. And the game has done a very good job at the point where I'm at right now of really selling the idea that everyone is screwed and everyone is miserable and everyone is at their absolute lowest moment. Because at this part in the story, and again, spoilers, there's this teenage girl. She's not teen. I think she's 12, right?
She's 12.
Yeah. There's this tween who is very possibly Star-Lord's daughter that he's just learned about, and she has been indoctrinated into a crazy space cult that is evil and that is going to destroy the universe so thoroughly that even the all-powerful, all-knowing world mind is like, we should probably just let him. Might as well just let him. There's no stopping this train. I'm gonna take off. You guys have fun doing what you do. And the Guardians were all just offered this sort of like kind of psychic artificial happiness. That's
the promise.
Yeah, the promise, which is the whole that's what the cult does. This is how they get people to submit, and you live out Peter's version of that, in which you are sent back to when your mother was alive, and you have the opportunity to save her, and you do. And that whole scene, by the way, I thought was so great. So well done, because you save her, and then you have that kind of like the And then it kind of flashes forward, and then so you're living with your mom again as an adult. She's alive, and then your space family has come and joined you, and like the Guardians are all living with you,
all around the house, watching TV.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
And you didn't see that, CJ?
I did not see that.
Oh my god, yeah.
Wait, what?
Like Drax was
did
like
not see
fixing
that
the
scene.
range, and
yeah, there's because like at one point you're outside working on your car or the truck or whatever, and like your mom comes and calls you in, and you're walking into the house, and you can see the Milano, the Guardian spaceship, is like parked out in the field, and you're walking.
I did not see any of this.
You
by
have
the
to
way,
accept the promise, CJ.
Did
like,
not
that's
see
the
any of
whole
this
thing.
Oh, you so you did
I
not
went ahead and shot her immediately.
Yeah,
wow.
If
I'd see. I didn't realize you could.
Neither did I.
Do that. You just pull your gun out and boom.
Well, I ended up having to do. Well, here's what happens, CJ.
I mean, I'm sure you did it eventually.
Well, I did
right away.
Yeah, you have to. But here's what happens.
Yeah,
is if you accept the promise, you end up in this scenario where you're living happily with your mom.
Interesting.
And the Guardians are all living with you. You're all one big happy family. You're going in the house, and you're walking into the house, and then you just hear Drax.
Still open?
Huh?
Yeah, what's with the fridge door? Is that a thing in the comics or something?
I don't know, but like every fridge door, you have to close.
You have to close.
Yeah, but like you hear Drax like just, where do you keep your knives?
Yeah,
Peter Quill's mom.
Yeah, and you can go into the living room, and they're and I think Rocket and Gamora are watching television, and I'm just talking because Phil's frozen again. So
that's right. Yeah.
I'm frozen. Am I?
There he goes.
You're back.
Frozen.
Just like watching TV, and Drax is complaining because the kitchen knives are not large enough for a warrior such as him.
Yeah,
right. And you can go around and you can start just talk to people.
I'm sad I missed this part.
But as you're going through this scene, you start to notice like around the edges of the TV screen, just like little kind of staticky, just darkness kind of overtaking it, and the further you play, the more it starts encroaching on the scene, and you start hearing like kind of staticky background noises until the whole thing is just consumed by the darkness, and then you have to and then it goes to the credit roll.
Yep.
Really?
And it's like,
what?
Yeah. You get, and that's the end of the game. And then as the credits are rolling, it brings up a little kind of dialogue box option to accept the promise or reject it. And if you accept it, after that, it just kicks you back to the title screen. It's just game over.
So cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that you're sad you missed, I'm curious for either of you, because this is something that I've completely missed.
Yeah.
And since you're both past the first time you're in Nowhere, if you haven't seen this, you've missed it. Did you get into the Collector's Menagerie?
No.
I did not, because I didn't want to spend all my money. Because it's like, what, 5,000 credits or something?
There's apparently that is where you'll find the Stan Lee cameo.
Oh, really?
Oh,
man.
Yep. So I'm kind of, but the nice thing is that you can jump to chapters.
Right. You can replay.
So you can go back and do that. I'm not going to say more about what it is, but it's in there.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. It's. I will say too, like talking about the writing, that was a great scene, and yes, Phil, I did see that as well.
Yeah.
And the one I was just talking about, and then there's some further scenes that you haven't made it to yet, so I'm not going to even hint at what they are. But for as funny as this game can be, and as sort of endearing as it makes the relationships between these characters, there's some Spider-Man ending level emotional stuff happening at various points too. And I think that's one of the things that they've done such a great job with. Is I love the Guardians, the first Guardians movie especially, but I love the MCU versions of the Guardians. I think they did a great job with them.
Right.
Although I will say, of course, based on the fact that they're part of a gigantic cast of characters, that a lot of them became very one note. Like Drax is a perfect example of that. Drax in the MCU is a punchline and not really much else. Punchline with muscles. And I'm sure it's more like this in the comics, but in this game, they did a wonderful job of making him a character.
Yep.
Right. And it's the same with all of them, really. But Drax in particular is a really engaging character in this game. And he's not just a big, I don't even want to say stupid, but he's not just the muscle.
Right.
He's a lot more than that in this game. So, and yeah, there are some moments that you guys are both, I think, coming to.
Yeah.
That
I've already gotten
just
to
like,
at least one of those moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
That are,
I know you
like,
have,
wow.
but there's more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Too.
And there's a lot of fun gameplay wrinkles that start to happen after the point you were at, Phil, that I wasn't expecting. Let's just say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a really, really fun game. Like,
they did a great job with it.
Surprised at how much fun I'm having with it, because I'm not an MCU fan. I don't read comic books. I liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I didn't see the sequel. But I am enjoying the hell out of this game for pretty much the narrative by itself is completely pushing me along.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this is that the chapters are always moving. I don't feel like there's any downtime in this game where you're doing nothing or doing the same thing over and over again.
Or the downtime is interesting.
Or the downtime
when you're
is
like on the
interesting.
Milano in between
Right.
missions, and you can walk around and talk to everybody. There's actually something interesting going on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you don't have to.
Right. Yeah.
And like all the stuff that you can scan in the environment, you don't have to do any of that. It's all optional, really. And I love that the game points out where the secrets are, especially if you have the one upgrade that gives you the little notification that there's a secret nearby. You just turn on your scanning visor and it'll just show you right where it is. Like I love all that stuff, and I love what they've done with this game. I hope that it sells well enough that they can do another one, because I really want that to happen. Like, I don't want this to be the end of Guardians of the Galaxy in video game form.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope it gets the love it deserves, especially when it comes to awards and things like that as well. Like it needs to receive the accolades that it deserves, for sure.
Yeah,
it's a shame. Absolutely. It's still really buggy, I gotta say.
It's very buggy. I had
major technical bugs happening in there.
I had to restart the game because the Y button prompt just would not go away on my screen.
Yeah,
just stayed in the middle and wouldn't go away. Like, so I had to save and reload the game from scratch.
I had multiple moments in my playthrough where I had to reload from last checkpoint. It wasn't all the time, but it was frequent enough that it's like, oh wow, this is happening again. Okay.
I took a video of it and posted it on Twitter. There was a moment on the ship early on where if you go into Groot's room, he has that little closet that you can open up. Right. And I had gone in there and I had opened the closet and just looked in there. And then I hit the button again to close it. And when I hit the close closet button, I instantly just popped into Star-Lord's room.
Yeah.
Right. Up above. And I wasn't controlling it, but Star-Lord just ran out of the room and ran through the ship and ran downstairs and ran into Groot's room and hit the button to close the closet. So
there's a fair amount of issues like that, which is
yeah. And I think a lot of people dismiss this game visually initially. As I continue to play, I am more and more impressed.
There's some
what
nice
they have done
stuff.
With this game. There's a photo mode, and I've been taking a fair amount of photos in it. And I wish it was a little better with some of this stuff. Like in combat, if you take photos using the photo mode in combat, they generally don't turn out very well.
Oh, really?
But to me, the set pieces that are in this game are just amazing looking. Like I think it just keeps like getting better and better the further I go into the game. And
I was really impressed playing it earlier today before the show. Because I was going through the or was that I think it was last night when I was playing that part. But when you're on the church ship and you are trying to escape and you're on those skiffs and you get into that giant area where there are just looks like millions of people just like milling about, getting their souls sucked out and all that stuff. I was just like, this looks really nice. This is very impressive looking. And You know, and again, does a great job of setting the mood and the tone of the scene. You know, just seeing all these people kind of, you know, getting their minds wiped or whatever by this cult.
Yeah.
And then you got Rocket freaking out because it reminds him of his past. And
see, again, a great, and it's something that was hinted at in sort of the MCU as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really get a lot of detail from him now.
Oh yeah.
And again, they all just become much more empathetic characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to see somebody like I think his name is Josh over Panels to Pixels, or Seabake, or you know, one of the real comic book gamer guys. I'd love to see them go through the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb and point out all the references, because for as many as I'm getting, I know there's 3 times as many probably that I'm not, because I'm not a comic book guy and not a Guardians of the Galaxy guy. And it's just like, I would love to, again, like even little things like the fridge being open all the time. I'm convinced that must be a reference to something.
Yeah.
But because it's just always there. But you know,
well, and the game saves every time you close it. So I wonder.
Yeah, I think it's counting. There might be a trophy attached to that too. I think there might be,
because every time I close it, the little saving icon comes up.
Funny. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
And there are moments in the game where you'll make a decision and there'll be very similar to a Telltale game.
Yeah.
Little text that shows up on the screen, like somebody's going to remember that. Or
did anyone toss Rocket yet?
I tossed Rocket. Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing that pays dividends down the line.
I tossed him early in the game, and then I haven't since, because
I don't think
you get the option to ever after that.
Oh, really?
Actually, one of the things that I will mention, because this doesn't really spoil anything, but that I really loved talking about something like that, because, you know, like part of the combat is, I'm still, the more I get into the game, I'm still crazy about the combat. I think that the team control in the combat works really well.
It really does.
But as you're exploring, of course, you get to these different places where, you know, you need different, like Gamora, you need her to scrabble up a wall and use her sword to hold on so she can boost Peter up to a higher level. Or with Groot, you know, you'll find these areas where he can create bridges and things like that. And at the beginning of the game and through most of the game, that's 100% done via commands. But as the team kind of coalesces and you get through all their different stories and sort of all these story moments happen, after a while, a lot of those situations, they'll start doing it on their own.
Oh, really?
You don't have to tell, which is like this tiny little touch. But again, it's like a wonderful example of like, there's harmony within the team.
Right.
And so like, you know, I don't need to tell Groot I need a bridge over there. Groot knows we need a bridge over there. So he just goes and does it.
Oh, that's
and
great.
It's just this tiny little thing, but it's part of the greater, you know, storyline, which I really like.
Yeah, the combat in this game too. I mean, we were talking about the story and the characters and all that stuff, which is fantastic, but I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying the combat too, because you would think, I mean, on paper, it sounds like this would just be a mess. It's like you're running around shooting guys, but you're also giving individual commands to 4 other computer controlled characters,
doing context sensitive stuff within the environment.
It really does work.
And it works. It works really well. And
choosing elements with Peter's gun.
Yeah. And I only have 2 of the elements so far. So
I have 3.
Okay. Oh wow. So you don't even have all 4 of them yet. So but
they dole out that stuff at a nice rate.
Yeah.
Even near the end of the game, you'll be getting a couple of new abilities. So.
Okay. Nice.
Related to the story too.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff is tied to story. You'll unlock something and be like, now you can do this. It's like, okay.
And I think that's something else, because we haven't really touched on this, and I know we need to move on, but something else that I did want to point out that I really like about this game is that the accessibility options in this game are great.
Yeah.
I don't know if they go as far as people would want them to, but there's still quite a bit there, including like the 4 different difficulty levels is a great start. But I mean, you can fiddle so much with the lock on and how the abilities work, and if you need to hold buttons versus just tapping them. And there's if you dig into the menus, there's a lot of accessibility options in there, which I'm really,
you can tune it
of.
To a very fine degree.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's great.
Yeah. And I found playing through on default, I'd heard other people say that this didn't work for them, but I found playing through on the default difficulty, I had to use my teammates' abilities to make it through some of the later battles. So
I did. I turned mine up to normal. I was on easy. I turned it back up to normal, and I have been using more of the teammate abilities. And you're right, like when you combo those together, when you find the right combination of those, then especially there are groups of enemies there, you just watch everybody get destroyed, and it's so good.
It's very chaotic.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm kind of not loving about the combat is that when you do the huddle, sometimes you'll get the huddle at the very end of an encounter or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And the huddle is so much fun. It's just like I wish there was more time to use it. It's like by the time I've charged up the meter, it's already done.
There are some giant battles near the end of the game. Like there were battles that I used the huddle like 3 times during the same.
Really? Oh wow!
What?
So you'll get the opportunity.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. Yeah. That's exciting though. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right. I guess we should move on.
Okay.
But I also got in the mail this thing.
Oh, you were able to get one.
Was able to get one of those and one of these.
Nice.
I'm holding up the N64 and Genesis controllers.
An audio
Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
I haven't really had the chance to play around with them. I'm surprised. I haven't held a Genesis pad in a long time. An OG 3-button.
3-button.
A 3-button. That's big.
Yeah.
Bigger than I remember.
Yeah. And you've got gigantic hands.
I've got, exactly. The hands of a giant. So, and then holding the N64 controller, that's just awkward. It's just not comfortable.
Yeah. A lot of us realized that back when they were new.
Well, yeah. And I had a Hori pad back in the N64 days that was everything squished and only 2 prongs instead of 3. So, yeah, I much preferred that. But yeah, I have those for Switch. I played a little bit more of Ocarina of Time, and I think it's great. I think the control setup on the Switch is okay considering the weird control setup of the N64 controller in general.
No.
So, but I'm having fun with that stuff. Anyway, let's get on to Greg.
Guardians of the Galaxy is really all I played besides the stuff that I played this weekend for Extra Life. But I'm not going to go into all those different games. Yeah. No, although I will say, I have gone back to Metroid Dread.
Oh, yeah?
I'm playing it again, but I'm playing it now with a walkthrough by my side. So
it's the way to do it.
If I get frustrated, I just check it and move on. Because I felt like I'm so close to the end of that. I kind of want to try to see it through, but I'm just removing all frustration from it as much as I can anyway. So
yeah,
I don't really have much else to say about it. I'm just saying I went back to it.
Nice.
That's it. Guardians is what I played the most.
Phil.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Well, it's funny Greg mentions Metroid because the only reason I am not farther along in Guardians is because I was kind of dedicated to finishing up Metroid before I started, because I knew that if I didn't, I would never go back to Metroid.
Yeah.
That said, I did not finish Metroid, but I did get to the final boss. I made it to the final boss. I've tried fighting the final boss a couple of times, and
I've heard it's a multi-hour affair for some people.
It's not easy.
But it's one of those situations, it sounds like anyway, where after you see the pattern and know the strategy,
well, all the bosses have been like that in
all of them have
game.
I would expect the final boss to be no different than that.
Yeah, honestly. But it's kind of a multi, there's like 2 or 3 forms that you have to go through, and the patterns change up, in mid battle and stuff like that. So it's like
right.
You gotta adjust on the fly, and then you get killed because the patterns change, and then it's like, okay, well, now I got to go all the way back and remember the first patterns, and then reset my brain when it switches up again. So but I made it to the last boss, and it's good. I mean, it's good. I like it. Guardians is better, but I like it. I did, we talked.
Take.
we talked a fair bit about the Emmys and how those kind of slowed down the pace of the game and stuff, and they do.
Yeah.
I did find well, I don't want to get. Do you care about Metroid spoilers, Greg?
Who, me? No.
CJ, do you care about Metroid spoilers?
No.
Metroid spoilers, everyone. Metroid spoilers.
Spoiler-filled episode suddenly.
It really is. Emmy kills Eris, it turns out.
What?
Just sword
Wow.
right in the back. Right in the back.
Who knew
Didn't
there
see
was
that
any room
coming.
in that line?
Yeah. You don't really fight the final Emmy. The final Emmy is kind of taken care of in a cutscene. I won't
Okay.
go into the details of it, but so the final Emmy
Baby Metroid comes back.
Yep. The whole time it's just like, remember this? I'm back, Samus. I'm saving you again.
Yeah.
Then she yells out, "Oh, the baby!
My
Oh,
baby!
the baby! The baby Metroid saving me again." So, but the penultimate Emmy was surprisingly
That's the best
easy.
one, right? Isn't that what that means?
It means like not just ultimate,
than
but
ultimate?
like like very ultimate.
Very ultimate.
Yeah, that's what that word means. Like infamous just means very famous.
Peninfamous.
Yeah. But yeah, the final Emmy was penultimate Emmy was surprisingly easier than the other ones.
I could see that based on where I am in the game right now, because where I had stopped, I had just sort of gotten through that Emmys area, but I hadn't killed them yet.
Okay.
But man, after the first time you go through there, you upgrade a lot.
Oh yeah.
Like then you get the gravity suit and the spin attack, or not spin attack. What is it? Screw attack. You get the screw attack. You get, I think, a new weapon, and yeah, like you get a bunch of upgrades. So I'm thinking by the time I get back in there, I'll be way overpowered or more powered up than I was.
What was crazy is that second to last Emmy, it's not even like, oh, you're just using all your powers because you powered up. It's just like the area that, at least where I was at, I ended up confronting it in a place that has a very obvious long hallway, and you can very easily just kind of run and fake it out, and then it'll be coming down the hallway, and then you just boom.
You see, the one before that, the third to last one I found, that one was a little bit confusing to find the sweet spot, which was you had to get up onto the ceiling from one of those magnetic like things that took you across, and then you could shoot it, because otherwise there was no good place to shoot that thing.
Right.
And it's like, and the other thing that I meant, was the space jump. Got the space jump, which I can imagine makes it would have made it a little easier to avoid a lot of these things.
Definitely would.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, the space jump though, as I was going through that game by the end, this is a Phil problem more than a problem with the game. But Metroid Dread is one of those games where, and I know SteamWorld Dig is this type of game as well. I can't remember if Guacamelee had the same kind of map, but Metroid Dread is one of those games where the map, you have the kind of fog of war, and even when you go into a room that's been uncovered, the map, the little mini map
completed.
Yeah, it tracks where you walk. So it's like, I know
what you're about to say.
You walk into a room that is blue, like kind of a light blue on the mini map or whatever, and when you walk past a part of that level, the light blue turns to dark blue to show you that you actually set foot in that area. And
Phil's filling in the holes.
Boy, I got to fill in all those holes. Time to space jump all the way up to the very top right corner, and now I'm going to space jump across the top of the room to the top left corner.
I can't do that
because something's broken in my brain that says I have to do that, or else something bad's going to happen. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So you're, towards the end of the game, you're kind of bouncing back and forth between some of the previous areas that you visited, and then it turned into, well, first it started off of, well, I should probably go around and pick up some of these other missile tanks and things just to bolster my supplies. But then it's like, well, I'm in this room. I might as well jump around and fill in every little
nook and cranny.
Now, granted, once or twice that actually helped me discover a hidden item or something, but
yeah,
probably not enough to really justify the action. But there we are. But yes, I'm at the final boss, and I'll get to it sometime. I just wanted to dive into Guardians. So
I forgot I didn't talk about Animal Crossing. Anybody jump back into that with the 2.0?
My daughter has.
Oh yeah,
but I haven't.
I have not either.
Okay, I did, and I have the DLC. The Happy Home Paradise thing is pretty fun. I'll talk more about that next week.
Cool. Yeah, I'd not. I haven't subscribed to the new
service,
the new NSO pack. Right. And you can buy the
you can buy the DLC separate.
20 is it $25 or something?
$25.
Yeah.
It feels like a whole separate game within Animal Crossing though.
Oh, really?
I think it's worth it.
Let me ask you this.
That kind of thing.
CJ, and I do like Animal Crossing. Of course I like Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
It's Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though. I have not played Animal Crossing in months.
Me too.
Months and months. And my big fear, if I go back into Animal Crossing, is I'm going to go into it. And let me tell you, too much weed is usually not a problem for me. But
can't relate. But anyway,
in my game of Animal Crossing, I am not looking forward to spending like 3 hours running around the village plucking weeds.
Well, you can turn on ordinances now.
Yeah.
You remember from the 3DS version?
I do.
As a beautification.
They brought that back?
Yep, they brought it back.
Oh, good. Was that? They probably mentioned that in the trailer. I don't think I watched the trailer for this, but good.
Yeah, okay. They brought it back in the 2.0 update.
Well, now that brings a little ray of sunshine into my gloomy daylight savings adjusted day. So, now I might have to dive back in if they're doing the.
I think it's worth it.
Ordinances. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. So okay. Cool.
Well, I think it's time for tweets.
Oh, is that right? Would you like the tweet
getting
song?
Pretty late.
Yeah, do it.
It's not getting pretty late. It just looks like that because of the aforementioned daylight savings. Goodness me. Tweedly-diddly-dee. Oh, tweedly-diddly-dee. Tweet. Oh, tweet. Oh, tweet. Tweet.
All right, let's do this one from Hackerailius Grim Grinning Guy.
No.
Who asks, are any of you interested in Shin Megami Tensei 5? I've never played one before. And I see Greg shaking his head. But the great reviews have me giving it a shot next week. I'm going to predict. No, none of us are going to play Shin Megami Tensei 5.
That's where you're wrong.
Oh, what?
Because I am definitely... No, of course not. No,
I devote time to Shin Megami Tensei.
Yep, I've decided to finally jump in, and I figure 5 is the place to start.
Well, I don't think they're related.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think it's like Persona. Are they not? It's
they're like
entirely self-contained story.
Are the see? I know nothing about Persona.
I will say I played a lot of Persona 5 because somebody bought it for me to play on stream, and that's a great game.
Oh yeah,
and I'm guessing Shin Megami Tensei is probably right at that level of quality as well.
Okay.
So I mean, those are don't take us saying no to this to mean that we think those aren't good games. They're Persona 5 is amazing.
Yeah,
but it's just not something that I'm going to spend time. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is not something I'm going to spend time playing.
Yeah.
Sorry to say, no. The game that I'm going to be playing this week is either Guardians of the Galaxy or Forza Horizon 5.
That's getting great buzz. Holy crap.
Over 1 million players already, and it's not out wide yet. It's just the Ultimate Edition. That's
they have like the early access thing going on with it?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. But it's gorgeous.
Okay.
All right.
That's gonna be is that gonna be on Game Pass?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Day one.
Okay. Should I I mean it's a racing game and I know, I don't should I try it?
You should definitely try it.
I'm hearing I loved 1 through 3. 4 I kind of bounced off of. I've heard actually that they've fixed a lot of the structural issues that I was having with sort of the progression in 4.
Guess how
So
much
I'm
Forza
excited
I've
to play
played
it
in my
again.
life throughout
Zero?
the entire
Zero.
franchise.
The Horizon games are great.
Yeah.
The Horizon games are great.
Yeah.
They're very they're open world racing games without all the frustration of that used to be come along with open world racing games, like police chases and big car wrecks and everything like that.
Maybe I'll give it a try.
It's
See what all the
It's gonna be
hubbub's
free.
about.
Why
And
not?
it's free. Game
For
Pass.
free.
It's just going to be a
For
big
free.
download. That's it.
For free. Right click save.
There you go. All right, let's do this one from hacker alias Grant Everett, who says, "You are on death row, and after your last meal, you are allowed to play any one game for an hour. What do you choose?" And CJ, because of the nature of your crimes, you can't be trusted with an internet connection, so no Sea of Thieves. Wow. Jeez, I thought we were friends, Grant. Come on. What's the deal? Gosh, I probably would play Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
Last game. Yeah.
Last game. If you only have an hour, you have an hour to play it.
I could probably get to the end of Mario 2 using warps.
Oh, look at that.
Using warp.
Probably full of himself right to the end.
Probably get to the end bit with Mario snoozing.
Oh,
and
man.
Be content.
That'll be
that.
Just that image.
That image.
As the injections start flowing through your veins,
That's right. I'm
you
down.
drift off. Visions of Subcon.
Subcon.
As you fade away. Yeah.
Go into Subcon. Yeah.
I'm coming, Wart. I'm coming to see you.
Coming for you, Wart.
It's like a threat.
Oh wow, it's yeah. Just got aggressive.
Look out, Mouser. Look out, claw grip. I'm coming.
Claw grip.
Claw
What
grip.
about you guys?
Claw grip.
Mega Man 2?
I mean, Mega Man 2 is kind of the first one that popped into my head for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because it is I think it's fair to say that Mega Man 2 is my favorite game ever.
Ever? Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But it's such a kind of a bland answer, right? I mean,
yeah, I know, right? That's mine is Streets of Rage 2, which I feel like most people probably would have guessed.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
it's like,
yeah.
You know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, if you have an hour, you know, I could probably beat Mega Man 2 in an hour.
Oh my god, you could beat Mega Man 2 in an hour, no problem.
Yeah, if I really, you know, have that kind of morose ending music playing as I drift off into the mortal coil.
An awful conversation.
I know, really. But you know what? You know what though?
Streets of Rage 2.
Oh, Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
And we've already had our last meal. Is that what the premise of the tweet was?
Yep.
We had the last. Yep. Okay, so the White Castles are digesting.
Oh, God.
And
then they don't need to kill you.
They don't need to do anything.
Tell you what, guys.
I'll have a sack of 10.
If I could, I don't know how much this little poison cocktail costs, but I bet
the money.
I bet a sack of 100 is cheaper.
Oh, God.
So why don't you?
Could you eat a sack of 10 right now? Like, is that something you could eat at your age right now? And...
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah. I could.
Would you regret it?
I mean, what's your definition of regret?
I guess okay, not from a philosophical standpoint, but more of a like, would your body make you pay for it? Is when you feel like crap afterward? Because I would
probably a bit, probably not as much as you.
And I don't mean it from a standpoint of that I don't think they taste very good, but obviously you like them, and I'm just more of a like, because I know like if I go eat fast food,
right?
You know, like a McDonald's, something like that, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But boy, after about a half hour, my body's just like, you shouldn't have had that. Especially French fries. I find French fries do that to me a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That has not happened to me yet.
Just
I'm sure it will.
Just any kind of French fries?
I think it's just fried food.
Oh, man. What was it I saw?
As I drink my giant can of sugar.
And I'm looking this up right now. Yeah, there was some study Oh yeah, here we go. Health research is at the University of Michigan. This was
they did
August.
health research into White Castle and found out there was no health. Is that
no?
It
was not. This is not White Castle related. But in August they did some sort of study. Eating a hot dog could take 36 minutes off your life.
Hot dogs are another thing that I find my body doesn't like anymore.
And I love hot dogs. I mean, they're no White Castle, but I love hot dogs. But what I'm curious is, so if I just sat down, so if one hot dog
when would it meet?
Yeah, well, if one hot dog takes off 36 minutes, I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of hot dogs and just eat them until I die. And then you could reverse the math.
See how long you were going to live.
How long would Phil have lived if he?
I feel like in that scenario, they'll learn you were going to live about a week. Actually, no, about 3 days.
I mean, the math. That's
36
math.
minutes. That's a lot of hot dogs a day. So
yeah. That's just how the math works. Then it's like, well, you know what? If Phil was going to die in a week, it's a good thing he went out eating hot dogs, doing what he loves.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that works. I think that works out. I'm no health researcher from the University of Michigan,
clearly,
but I don't know.
Okay, I think that's a show.
Mega Man 2. It's a good game to die on.
Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward.
Mm-hmm.
You'll also find Generation 16 episodes as they happen.
Yeah, I'm moving on to a different episode because I am dead stuck in the game that I'm covering.
Oh, no.
Okay, wow.
Still looking for help.
Do you want to know? Do you want to say what game it is, or?
Yeah, it's a laser active game called I Will: The Story of London.
Oh,
and I cannot find anyone who has gotten past the point that I'm stuck on.
It's weird because that's a notoriously popular game.
I was going to say, now, obviously that's a very small pool.
There's no walkthrough on GameFAQs.
No. Although it's funny, there's an abridged walkthrough on YouTube.
Is it really?
But
it stops
it's so abridged that it doesn't teach you how to get past that point. It shows you that there is something past that point, but it doesn't teach you how to do it.
Oh, wow. Huh. Well, anyway, you'll find that on player1podcast.com, and you will also find links and things to all show notes and links to all the things that we talked about on the show, and a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
In our chat right now, I see Mr. Coffee, Mr. Radar saying in relation to our.
I think you're watching them slowly die.
Previous discussion. Are we watching people slowly die watching the hot dog eating contest?
I'd say yes.
Hate to break it to you, you're watching people slowly die always.
Right now.
All the time.
You're watching me slowly die right now. Wow. When you look at yourself in the mirror, you are seeing yourself slowly dying. That's how life works. The sweet with the sour, It's the way the world works. We all get gingerbread snapped at some point or another, my friend. There you go. Hey,
comes back to ginger snapped.
All comes back to the dew.
Oh God.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening device. We're also on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook or in the metaverse or whatever nonsense that crap is. You can watch video archives of our show on the youtubes.com/P1 podcast, or you can watch us live most weeks on the YouTubes, on the Twitters, on the Facebooks, on the Twitch.televisions.
Yeah.
We typically record at 5:30 specific time. Usually, but not always. I'll tell you what, though, if you follow our Twitter account, which is just @P1 Podcast, you'll find out when we are broadcasting our next live show, and you can join in. Wouldn't that be a hoot and a holler? You bet it would. Tell you what, though, if you like what you've heard, and how could you can head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. I have to pay to get my stomach pumped because
between that and the White Castle,
between ginger snapped White Castle nonsense, man, what's a fella my age gonna do?
Don't know.
I mean, I not eat this crap, but
yeah,
that doesn't feel like that. That doesn't feel like something that's going to happen.
It doesn't, you know.
If you haven't learned your lesson by now.
Tell you what, though, your Patreon dollars do, of course, help support our show. It keeps us live streaming all those costs of running a podcast that CJ is the one who has to deal with them. So,
true.
We do appreciate your support. And tell you what, if you are a Patreon supporter of the $5 tier,
cheap,
you will gain access to a special weekly bonus episode. We record right after this, playing games, cracking wise, doing all the stuff we can't do on the regular show. CJ, do we have a game for this week?
We do. It is an EGM review game from the November 1996 issue.
Okay.
Sounds awful.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll hear some fantastic old mid-90s video game reviews. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
If you want a sample of what our bonus shows are like, CJ every Thursday tosses one of our old bonus shows up on the feed from like a couple of years ago, but they're still fresh. You know, they're just
as fresh as we are.
Fun and funky as your favorite middle-aged podcast hosts.
True.
But yeah, please join us for that, won't you? And tell you what, if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to patreon.com/generation16 to help support Greg Stewart's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Philip. And if you are a supporter of the $5 per episode variety,
also cheap,
you get access to my weekly vlog called The Weekly Commute, where I talk about things like how stuck I am in the current game and sort of the process behind the creation of the episodes, along with anything else that comes to mind at the time. Yeah, so please go over and support the show.
I hope that when you figure out how to get past this spot you're stuck in this laser active game, you will write a new FAQ and post it to Game
Has the information.
I think I'd be writing the first one.
Okay, well then you should get on that. I will start working on some ASCII art for the top of your document.
ASCII NFTs.
Why is that not a thing?
What will be after this week?
Shut up! This is our thing now.
Don't put this in the show, CJ.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll cut it out.
Yeah. ASCII art NFTs. Finally.
Get out.
Finally. Banking on that old BBS nostalgia. CJ.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you. But more importantly, congratulations again on reaching and surpassing your $10,000 extra life goal. That is amazing.
Thank you, Philip. Next year begins the quest to hit 100,000 raised in total.
Nice. What are you at again?
I'm at 80 right now. I'm at $81,109 raised.
Okay, and that's counting what you made this year.
That's counting this year.
Okay, and of course people
we're a couple years away, I think. But
people can still donate this year until when is it? End of the year. Okay, cool. So yeah, go support Greg at Extra Life. My gosh, help the kids out. And of course, thank you to our wonderful, wonderful listeners, every single one of you. Please take care of yourselves, your loved ones, your family, your friends. Get the shots, wear the masks. My kid's getting a shot next Saturday. So nice. just like Big Bird told him to.
Oh God.
So, but we love you folks, and we hope to see you again next week. Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.